What's going on at the Capitol today? What's the mood?
Well, I think that there are a lot of discussions in the halls right now about exactly how serious trouble Andrew Cuomo is in at this hour. Certainly, more lawmakers came out last night after our reporting on Anna and this kind of unwanted kiss that the governor gave her at a wedding in 2019. I think there's a growing number of lawmakers who are fed up and want the governor to consider resignation. Now, I don't think we've hit critical mass on that yet, and noticeably absent have been any calls for resignation from the legislative leaders here in Albany who could have a big say as to the governor's fate.
What's the word within the governor's office right now about his mental state, his status? Does he feel the pressure to step down? What's going on there?
I put out some feelers on that today. It has been remarkably quiet. I'll tell you. You know, the governor, of course, grew greatly famous last year with his press conferences, kind of a nonstop streak of coronavirus press conferences during the spring. He has not made a public appearance since last Wednesday when the first of these allegations broke. And so he is staying pretty moot at this point. He has put out a couple of statements in reaction to our reporting, but there's no indication that he's going to pop out anytime soon. When that happens, of course, I think he will be hit with a lot of questions and will need to have some pretty coherent answers if he wants to survive this scandal.
Is there a contingency plan being made that if he does have to step down? I mean, he is in the middle of leading the state in the middle of a crisis, a pandemic. Are there moves being made to make sure that if he does have to leave, that New York State would not be left in the lurch?
Well, I talked to one senior aide earlier today involved in the actual coronavirus reaction, who said, look, the vaccinations are still happening, shots are still getting in arms, testing is still being done, that the state this has not affected the state's performance, that the state is still running. Of course, if the governor did have to resign, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul would become governor and, in a strange twist of fate, would be the state's first female governor. So I think that there's a lot of eyes on the governor's mansion here in Albany to see when the governor pops out, what he says, and moreover, how it's received by lawmakers who may hold his fate.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.